All right, welcome to the 2020 virtual competitor briefing for the Goblin Optimist Regatta. First and foremost, we're so happy to be able to host this, and I apologize that we didn't get notice out about it until like about 2 weeks before the event, but ultimately it was literally approved like 2 weeks ago. And so we're very excited to see almost 50 boats signed up. And naturally speaking, this is kind of a perfect test event for our phase 6 return to sailing, which is having out of town competitors come into town. And we're hoping we can put on a really, really good, sort of respectful in the harbor department's eyes view of the event so that we can continue to do this moving forward. So just so you're aware, this is our first chance to do this where we're bringing out of town competitors into town. And what we're trying to do is hopefully to show that we're capable of doing this and doing physical distancing and masks and all that stuff. So the goal really in how we've organized it is to create sort of a cohort scenario. We're very fortunate in that the Youth Foundation, which has, I think, 11 boats signed up or 12 boats signed up, are all over at the Youth Foundation docks. So we don't have to really worry about them. They've got their own cohort way they're dealing with things. And then we really have 3 clubs, King Harbor, Cal, and Delray. And then we've got, I think, 1 competitor from Cabrillo Beach and 2 from Santa Monica, Windjammers Yacht Club. And so really what's going to allow us to do is create little cohort areas in the parking that I'll go into in a moment here. Before we get into that, I just want to remind everybody, we're not going to really have like a registration table or check-in table or any of that stuff. So make sure you print your sailing instructions at home and bring them with you. If you're really in a pinch, I'll probably try to send our parking monitors over with a handful of copies, but I can't promise we'll have enough, but I think it's important that you bring your own, ideally. So when you arrive, we'll be putting out signs here momentarily where it's going to say, King Harbor, Delray, Cal, and we're going to try to give it a situation where you're going to have a parking space for every 2 of your boats. So if you were bringing 9 boats from your cohort, your club, we're going to give you a parking space for each of them rounded up. So if there's 9 boats, you're going to have 5 spaces, and they're 20-foot spaces for your opties, and then an additional space for an opti trailer. We may even put another space there too, just so you have plenty of space to work in. That's your area, and hopefully, it shouldn't be an issue at all. For Cabrillo Beach and Santa Monica Windjammers, we're going to give you guys, like 3 spots or 4 spots over there. So you'll have a ton of space. We kind of lump those 3 boats in a fairly large space just for them. Let's see here. Whaler trailers, please park them in a different row that's not the back row of the launch ramp. So what I mean by the back row of the launch ramp, I'm going to go to a share screen here. And we're going to go to, let's see here, the Goblin Optimist page. Boom. All right, so this is the Goblin Optimist Regatta page, and it's this is where your virtual notes are going to be, notice board is going to be. And the web page for this, the URL for this is just https://sbyc.org/goblin-optimist-regatta. So again, if you didn't get all of that, it's sbyc.org/goblin-optimist-regatta. And if you scroll down, you can see a virtual notice board and race documents. I'm going to go ahead and pull up our parking diagram here so you can go ahead and take a look. This back row here, as you can see, there's like 30 something spaces, or it's a lot of spaces here, plenty of spaces for us to use. That's for our optimists and the optimist trailers. And again, we'll have this cordoned off into basically 4 sections. 3 of them will be about the same size, though I think King Harbor has quite a few more boats than the other clubs. We'll have a little bit larger area, and then of course a smaller area for Santa Monica and Cabrillo Beach. And then the coach boat trailers, you can park them any of these yellow stalls. You can't really tell in this picture, but these stalls are marked yellow, the big long ones in this area where you can see they're kind of all empty here. And you see over in the right side of the picture, you've got a bunch of cars parked. So if it's a white stall, a white parking spot, white lines, that's a car spot only. If it's a yellow spot, you can park a trailer or a trailer and a car attached to the trailer, but do not park a car there. You'll get a ticket. Okay, so that's important to know. That's why I said there's additional single vehicle parking further down to the left on your way in. We've marked a bunch of notes on this form to be aware of, and that includes trying to stay out of the driving area, so like the actual driving ways where boats or cars might come through. When you're doing briefings with your competitors, make sure to go to the beach or stay in your little cohort area or something like that. We'll let you, I mean, there's tons of space on the beach there, so that's important to understand. Okay, so that's kind of the whole parking deal. There is fees for the parking lot that you're responsible for, just as a reminder. And you can leave vehicles and trailers there for, I believe, 3 days. So that should be plenty of time. You can leave them overnight. Okay, now report times. We originally had said we are going to have staggered rigging times, and we talked about it and decided that actually we don't think we need to. We have enough space. We are going to do staggered launching times, which I'll get to in a second. But for rigging times, you can report whenever you want. The first warning for each day is 12:30. We do have a costume contest on Sunday at 10:45 to 11. It'll be judged. But generally speaking, you can report whenever you want. The only real time frame is you can sign in online by 10:45 a.m. each day. So I'm going to go back here. Hopefully my screen is sharing correctly. And you can see right on the virtual notice board, daily online sign in. And all you have to do is what day are you signing in? What's your sale number that day? So if you change your sale number between entry and Saturday, you can change it here. And then on Sunday, if you sale with a different number, you can change it here. So that's very important. Enter the correct sale number there. That's how we would know how to score you correctly. The name of the skipper and the club, submit. Takes 2 seconds, and probably I'm sure the coaches would be happy to do it for their students at each club. I'm going to add a link on here that also shows that you've appropriately signed in. It's just going to be a Google sheet. That's a Google form. It's going to pop it into a Google sheet and say, here's all who signed in for each day. So hypothetically, we should have 48 competitors signed in each day in case, unless somebody's not coming or decides to not go sailing. So this is a safety feature. Please sign in 10:45. It's an actual rule. Okay, let's see here. Moving on. Don't forget to sign in. Masks are required while on land. This is a big, huge change to the notice of race. Originally, we said masks will be required at all times and they shall be worn, meaning it could be a protestable rule. But what we did is we said, oh, it would be a discretionary penalty. If somebody wants to protest, I guess we could just have the jury say they're not going to, give them any penalty if their mask fell off for a second. It's not that big a deal. But that was a little sticky. And so we really came back to that we're going to require them on land, but it is not a protestable offense. And this is just important for us and our ability to continue to host these events, that while we're on land in the regatta venue, and that's the harbor launch ramp area, that we have our masks on unless we're eating or drinking or, to adjust clothing or something like that. So the idea is we're just trying to be a good example in our harbor community and be able to do this again. Let's see, I talked about keeping the aisleways. When it comes time to launch, we're going to do staggered launching by cohort, meaning by club. So if Cal Yacht Club's ready first, we'll say, there are 2 parking monitors there that'll be going around, just sort of, helping if there's any help needed or anything like that. But Cal Yacht Club says, hey, we're kind of ready to launch. That means their team is going to go and that King Harbor and Delray have to wait till Cal finishes. And if it turns out this is all happening late and we need more time, don't worry. We're going to try to be very, we'll just be a little bit more flexible this year for sure if it looks like it's taking people longer to launch or something like that. What we don't want is big clutters of people at the launch ramp or lines of boats. So it'll be just the kind of thing when Cal launches their 9 boats and they're done and say, okay, who's ready next? King Harbor, great, you're next, and that's how it'll work. Remember to return your dollies to the yellow stalls in your cohorts area. Launch from the eastmost ramps, that's the closest to the beach. I'll pull up our parking document again. The eastmost launch ramps, you can see the green launch arrows there, are where you're going to want to launch from. And remember that the launch ramp can be slippery. This is, if it's low tide, that area of the launch ramp stays underwater most of the time and grows stuff on it. So just remember it, be very cautious. Don't assume it's just perfect grip and all that stuff when you're coming back in as well. Okay, so that's kind of launching. We'll send out each cohort one at a time. That makes it easy on the coach boat too, because they're not waiting for one kid. They're all like 9 or 10 are all going at once. They can just follow them out to the race course. And then the coach boats, when you're coming back in, we're going to do kind of the exact opposite. We'll sort of say, okay, like, whoever's kids all finish kind of first, that cohort will sort of sail in ahead of the next cohort, et cetera, et cetera. And again, we only have like 3 big ones. I think there's 9 boats at Cal, 9 at Delray, 14 at King Harbor, and 3 between Cabrillo Beach and Santa Monica Windjammers. And so we'll just kind of like let those go in with a little separation in between each of those groups so that each cohort can go to their area. And we will have somebody at the hose rinse station, and we'll have quarters. So we'll take care of all that. And it should be a simple thing where it's like, okay, bring your boat by, squirt, 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 squirt. Okay, keep moving, et cetera, et cetera. So hopefully we can make that happen quickly. Coach boats, I'm going to change what I said is just a verbal thing. You guys can keep them at the UCSB docks. We don't have a lot of coaches this year. It kind of became a problem in the past, but you can keep them there. The UCSB docks are pretty obvious. It's got a bunch of FJs on them, and the code is 1872 to get onto the dock. Okay. Other items. Okay, so there's bathrooms located right at the sea landing, right next to the harbor area there that are public. Single men's and women's restrooms that they clean daily. T-shirts will be brought over to your coach or your club representative in each cohort area in a bag. So that if it's Delray, here's your 9 shirts in a bag. You guys distribute them as necessary. And that's how we're going to do them. So we do have, they're not T-shirts, they're actually like regatta dry shirts. I'm really stoked that Sarah and Brian Murray, who, if I don't know if I thank them, but thank you so much, they are regatta chairs, pulled off a really quick regatta shirt. So very excited that happened. SBYC is only open to members at this time. So I had somebody ask, can I please, work on my computer there? And the answer is not right now. And I apologize. That's just what the rule is currently. So there's beach in front of the yacht club you can sit on. It's a public beach. There's a break wall you can watch the racing off of. Obviously, Stearns Wharf has, wine tasting and things like that you can do. The yacht club right now is not open for reciprocal privileges or guests at this time, unless you're with a member that that's different. Let's see here, notice board. So once again, this is our virtual notice board. Hopefully you're seeing this on the share screen. And you can see the daily online sign-in. Here's a map of the harbor. If you want to know where we are, like I said, the coach boats can go to UCSB docks. Here's our launch ramp area. The yacht club is denoted by the Burgee over here, so it's quite far, actually, from the regatta venue. But what you can see is that on here is also our online protest form. So protests will be online filings this year, and it's a Google form that I pretty much took and copied what's on the protest forms in written versions, and you just fill this out. That's it. Once it's filled out, we will send out, post the order of hearings on here, and then we'll decide how we're going to hear it. If we're going to hear it virtually, or if we're going to try to do it in person with just space on the beach. Okay, I think I've touched base. Oh, one more thing. So our awards, we decided this year, everybody's getting a pumpkin. So if you're coming, you're winning. And, I think it's a little bit easier. So we're going to pass those out on Sunday morning, right around the time that the costume contest is going to go on. And what we're going to do is basically drop off 9 pumpkins in, Delray's area, 9 in Cal's, 14 in King Harbor's, and say, you guys figure out where we're going to put all those pumpkins on Sunday morning. So like right around 11 o'clock, right around the costume contest time. And the idea behind that is that when you guys get in, you can start loading up your boats and take off. The results should be posted online. We will do an online virtual award ceremony, try to make it fun with some costumes and stuff, probably get my kids involved. But we're not going to have like any kind of award ceremony. Like once it's done, it's like, boom, get on the road and go, assuming you're not involved in the protest hearing. Okay, so the race committee signal boat will be a 45-foot, I believe, power boat. But I can send out an email on that as well. I'm actually not sure what kind of boat it is, but it should be a fairly large one. You'll see the race committee boat flag, obviously. The race course will probably, if it's breeze like today, will be set up kind of out in front of the yacht club area and off the break wall. So, we won't go too far offshore. It should be some good viewing right here in front of the club on the beach. Let's see here. That's kind of it. There's no green fleet. So if anybody signed up for green fleet and thinks that there's going to be coaching during the race, there isn't. Okay. So if you did, I really want to let you know and make sure, because it's very important that our sailors have a good experience while on the water. And I don't want them to get out there and be like, well, why isn't my coach talking to me? So I'm sorry we don't have green fleet this year, but this was the way to make this event happen, was to do one fleet, and maybe we can have a green fleet event later. But right now, this is what we're able to do. So just as a reminder. Beyond that, I think it's pretty straightforward. The costume contest will be on Sunday morning. Report whenever you want, but 10:45 to 11 o'clock, kind of stand in front of your boat or next to your boat. And that's kind of how we'll judge. And even if your boat's not decorated, if you're a Youth Foundation sailor, come on over to the launch ramp and, we'll find a little spot for you guys to stand. I'm not sure if the Youth Foundation boats, they decorate their boat or something, you're probably gonna have to get towed over, and that's between you and Nick and the coaches there, how you're gonna get that boat over. But we can also, we'll figure that out, I'm sure. So anyway, that's pretty much it for the costume contest. We'll have little awards for that, I think, as well. And that's pretty much it. So I'm going to stop my share. I just want to remind you that this is all here. This is also where you can find your results. The 2020 results will be here on this page. You can open up these, these areas and kind of look through all on that 2020 Goblin Opti Regatta page. All right, so I'm gonna stop my share there. And I just want to thank you all for being part of this. Remember, our goal is really just to give these kids a really, really fun time, but also have some respect for the reality that we have to try to be respectful to the rules, which include masks on land, not protestable, but required. On the water, we recommend them at all times, but they're not required on the water. Okay, so I think if you're gonna get all hanging around a coach boat with 13 boats, I really suggest you put your masks on. I think that's a smart thing to do. And that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, I want to remind you to email racing@sbyc.org with those questions. The start line is not restricted. Just throwing that one in there. So yeah, you can go right through the start line. Don't worry about it. And if you have any questions other than that, then shoot me an email. Happy Halloween. We'll see you tomorrow at the Goblin Optimist Regatta.